To perform collet maintenance on the Coritec150i, you start by going to the settings screen. Once you are on the settings screen, you will then select the service position button. After selecting the service position button, wait for the machine to complete its move to the service position. While the machine is moving to the service position, the machine will measure the tool currently in the collet to ensure it has not broken. After the measurement is confirmed, then the tool will be placed back in the holder. Now the spindle has moved to a forward position in the machine to allow you to perform the maintenance on the collet. The screen displays a message stating it is now in the service position. You will leave this message on screen while you perform the maintenance. You will only press the check mark once you are completely finished with the maintenance and ready for the machine to move back to its home position with the tool in the collet. The tools you will need to perform the collet maintenance are included in a clear plastic case. Let's go over the collet tools now. The first tool is the wire brush tool. This tool is used to clean out the inside of the collet once it is removed. The second tool is the collet nut. This tool will be used to physically remove the collet from the spindle. You will use the nut in conjunction with either the transport pin or a 2.5 mm tool. The third tool is a rod. This tool is used to clean out the water nozzles located around the spindle. This will ensure the water flow is not obstructed and cools the tools continuously. The fourth tool, the felt brush. This tool is used to clean out the inside of the spindle without the collet in the spindle. This helps to make sure the collet isn't sitting inside of the spindle crooked. The last item is the collet grease. We will use the collet grease after the collet is removed and cleaned off. To remove the collet, we will use the collet nut and the transport pin or a tool. Insert the rounded end of the tool through the nut and insert the tool with the nut over it into the collet. Seat the nut over the collet and begin to unscrew the collet, turning it clockwise. Once the collet is loose, you can then remove the nut and tool and unscrew the collet by hand. Now that the collet is removed, we can then perform the next maintenance steps. We will start by using the felt brush to clean out the spindle to ensure there is no debris inside the spindle area where the collet screws in. Take the felt brush and put it inside of the spindle while the collet is out. Push the felt brush all the way in and then rotate the brush to clean the inside of the spindle out. After removing the brush, you may see some debris which can be easily cleaned off. The brush can be washed to remove debris, but please be advised it is considered a consumable part, however, and should be replaced after some time. Next, we will use the bar to clean out the water nozzles. This will help make sure the water isn't impacted by any debris that may have gotten inside of the nozzles. If there is any debris inside of the nozzles, the water will not hit the tool where it is supposed to. To insert the bar, you will have to insert it at an angle. Follow the angle of the nozzle to insert the bar. The bar doesn't need to be pushed all the way into the nozzle, but just enough to ensure there isn't any debris in the lower part of the line. Let's take a look at the collet now. The first thing we should do is clean out the inside of the collet with the wire brush. Take the wire brush and clean the inside of the collet from the open side with the slots. This will remove any debris stuck to the inner walls of the collet if there is any. Next, we will wipe off the collet to remove any old grease that could have debris in it. You can also use steam to clean the collet. After the old grease has been removed, you will then apply the new grease. The amount of grease should be very small, just a dab to put on your fingertip. Once you have the grease, you will put the grease on the collet on the areas where the slots are not present. You should not allow any grease to get into the slots on the collet. After the collet has been lubricated, we can now put the collet back into the spindle. This is done by screwing the collet in by hand first and then using the nut and tool to tighten the collet. Please do not over-tighten the collet. Just make sure the collet is not loose and has been hand tightened so it won't fall out. Now that the collet is back in the spindle, we can close the door and press the green check mark on screen. The machine will pick up the last tool that was in the collet and measure it to ensure it is not broken. You are now done performing collet maintenance on the Coritec150i.